So thank you for coming along this evening.
Thank you for having me.
Rosie's going to be presenting at the Essex Property Meet this evening, so talking about your property journey. So first of all, Rosie, can I ask you why you started in property? What gave you that motivation?
So our reason why, as a lot of people call it, was we were thinking a little way down the line we would be having a family, and the idea behind it was to maybe have a second income so we could choose whether or not I went back to work full time. That was the idea. I'd seen my family turn a derelict farmhouse into a beautiful family home, and also buy some student HMOs along the way. So we could see that they'd created great wealth from property, and thought we would want to do the same.
Okay, great. And how long have you been on your property journey so far?
So it's been about 4 years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where and why did you start?
So we're based in Canterbury in Kent, and we invest on the Wirral in the northwest, and we started there because we didn't have the money to invest in the south. We've now brought our portfolio back down here and are looking to grow in Kent.
Fantastic. And so out of all the places that you could have gone to, I find it interesting because lots of people invest in my hometowns in South Wales, and people go up to areas like Sunderland because you get the high yield. So why the Wirral specifically to start with?
So we had done lots of research on various different areas. We'd been to Birmingham, far too saturated with investors, so we'd gone a bit further. We looked at Manchester, we looked at Liverpool. Everyone was investing in Liverpool. We thought, let's go see what's so exciting about Liverpool, and we didn't like it. It was far too much competition, and the agents had no time for us, so we looked a bit further out. The Wirral was one of the first places we looked, and the numbers worked, all stacked. And there was less competition, so the agents had time for us. And when you don't know an area, that's really important.
Yeah, great. Okay, that's good. And then at what point did you decide to start moving back down south where the values are higher?
So that's been very recently. We've just finished a large HMO conversion, 12 bedroom on the Wirral, and we've now got the investor backing to come down here. So that's only really been in the last year.
Okay.
6 months to a year.
Yeah, good. And how have the type of properties or investments you're choosing, how have they changed whilst now that you've changed area?
So when we started out, we were looking at little buy-to-lets. We are not so interested in £300, £400 a month anymore. Since we did the HMO conversion, which is more around the £2,000 a month profit, we're looking for those bigger deals. So at the moment, we're in the process of buying, and you're helping us buy a mixed-use development, which is 2 commercial units with 2 flats on the top, which again is a nice couple of £1,000 profit a month. So we're looking at bigger projects rather than £200, £300 a month buy-to-lets.
Yeah, good. Okay, so a great place to start because it gave you the learning, got the foot. You also got a proven formula together. You're investable now, and you've performed really well. Your portfolio's grown, so I can see all of that really working for you. And then, out of interest, have you found doing that first big HMO deal, has that been more of a challenge than the simple buy-to-lets? What's the kind of ratio? What's the stress levels?
Absolutely. So in fact, that was the reason I left my job, because it was far too much to do. And I know some people do these great big deals as well as a day job. Credit to them. I don't know how they do it, because I was very much trying to be up there as much as I could. It's a 5-hour journey to the Wirral, so I needed to be there. I needed to keep an eye on the builders. So yes, stressful. The financing's a lot harder. Again, you guys have helped us with that. It's just a much bigger project generally, but with more risk comes more reward. So
yeah, absolutely. And it performed really well on the revaluation for you as well, didn't it?
It did. Thanks to you guys.
Thank you.
we very. I mean, lucky is not the right word there, but when we first bought the property, we had a valuer go out. This was before we knew you guys, and they came and gave us a GDV of 435 on that property, which we knew we could get more than, but we didn't know how much more, and we thought we'll be cheeky and ask for 500,000, and it was only when you came along and said ask for more than that. You said about 580, and we ended up getting 550, which was 100 grand more than, well, more than 100 grand more than the original valuer had said. So that was incredible. Made that deal far more than we could ever have imagined.
Yeah, fantastic. So the secret to it, I think, when you're looking at HMOs, is when you're a 6-bed HMO that kind of looks and feels commercial, exactly. So it's got kitchenettes en suites, or when you go above 6-bed, you're into the 7-bed and over, it is much easier to pinpoint a commercial valuation for it and be able to predict what value you're going to get.
Exactly.
But of course the other side of it is you've got to get a valuer then that understands HMOs.
Yeah.
And one of the privileges, of course, we have as brokers with Shawbrook Bank and some other banks is that we can have some influence over who's selected for that process. So we can try to make sure that we get a valuer that understands HMOs and the rationale.
Exactly.
But of course the other side of the coin is knowing then what type of finish that you do.
Yeah.
So that first valuer looking at to predict your GDV for the future didn't necessarily know what finish you were going to do, and so that applies as well. So a good result. I think we kind of worked as a good team really to get the result on that one. And then can I ask Rosie, besides that valuation result, what else has Harvey Burrows brought you as added value?
So for me, you guys are always available, and Grant always says that to me. He's always available, and that's quite different to other brokers I've had in the past. You can always get an answer day or night very quickly, and you work with us. So we're currently in the process of buying a new house. We didn't think that would be possible, but you've sort of turned a situation that could be losing our forever home into actually we're in the process of moving, and that. What more value can you get from a broker, in my opinion? Great,
thank you very much for that. So it's been really interesting to have a quick interview and a catch up with you before we move on to the Essex Property Meet for this evening. Of course, you're going to be speaking this evening, presenting some of your deals to the audience and going to offer some real value here. So we're looking forward to hearing from you later.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.